The miracles continued, but so did the resistance. And from this point on, every step led closer to the cross. As Jesus continued his journey, the crowds followed him wherever he went, drawn by hope, curiosity, and need. Yet beneath the surface, something was shifting. The tension between truth and tradition was tightening, and hearts were being exposed. Religious leaders came from Jerusalem, questioning him sharply. They accused his disciples of breaking tradition, of eating without ceremonial washing. Jesus listened, then answered with clarity that cut deeper than accusation. "You nullify the word of God for the sake of your tradition," he said. He explained that true defilement does not come from what enters the mouth, but from what flows out of the heart. Evil thoughts, pride, deceit, bitterness, these were the things that corrupted a person. The disciples were uneasy, aware that his words offended the Pharisees. But Jesus did not soften truth to protect pride. Leaving that place, he went into the region of Tyre and Sidon. There, a Canaanite woman cried out to him, pleading for her demon-tormented daughter. At first, he was silent. The disciples urged him to send her away. She persisted. When Jesus spoke of his mission to Israel, she did not argue. She knelt and said, "Lord, help me." Her humility was striking. Her faith undeniable. "Woman," Jesus said, "you have great faith. Your request is granted." Her daughter was healed at that very moment. Faith was not limited by background or boundary. It was recognized wherever it trusted him fully. Jesus moved on, healing many along the way. The mute spoke. The crippled were made well. The blind saw. The crowds praised the God of Israel. Once again, Jesus looked at the people and felt compassion. They had been with him 3 days and had nothing to eat. He asked his disciples what they had. 7 loaves and a few small fish. Jesus gave thanks, broke the bread, and fed 4,000 men, besides women and children. Again, there was more than enough. Still, many demanded a sign. Jesus sighed deeply. "No sign will be given," he said. Truth had already been displayed. But some hearts demanded spectacle instead of surrender. As they crossed the lake, Jesus warned his disciples about the yeast of the Pharisees and Sadducees, the slow spread of hypocrisy and unbelief. They misunderstood, thinking he spoke of bread. Jesus reminded them of the miracles they had already witnessed. "Do you still not understand?" He asked. At Bethsaida, he healed a blind man in stages. First blurred sight, then clarity, a reminder that seeing sometimes comes gradually. When they reached Caesarea Philippi, Jesus asked a question that shifted everything. "Who do people say the Son of Man is?" They answered with common opinions. Then he asked, "But who do you say I am?" Peter spoke, his words steady. "You are the Messiah, the Son of the living God." Jesus affirmed him. "This was not revealed to you by flesh and blood, but by my Father in heaven." From that moment, Jesus began to explain plainly that he must go to Jerusalem, suffer, be killed, and rise again. Peter resisted. "Never, Lord," he said. Jesus turned and said words that stunned everyone. "Get behind me, Satan. You do not have in mind the concerns of God, but merely human concerns." Love without understanding can still oppose God's plan. Then Jesus spoke to all who followed him. "Whoever wants to be my disciple must deny themselves, take up their cross, and follow me." Not comfort, not applause, a cross. "For whoever wants to save their life will lose it, but whoever loses their life for me will find it." The cost was now unmistakable. 6 days later, Jesus took Peter, James, and John up a high mountain. There, his appearance changed. His face shone like the sun. His clothes became white as light. Moses and Elijah appeared, speaking with him. Peter, overwhelmed, spoke without thinking. A voice came from the cloud. "This is my beloved Son, with whom I am well pleased. Listen to him." The disciples fell face down, terrified. Jesus touched them. "Do not be afraid." When they looked up, only Jesus remained. As they came down the mountain, Jesus instructed them to keep silent about what they had seen until after his resurrection. The glory was real, but suffering still awaited. Back among the people, a desperate father begged Jesus to heal his tormented son. The disciples had been unable to help. Jesus healed the boy and spoke privately to his disciples about faith, prayer, and dependence on God. Again, he spoke of his coming death and resurrection. They did not understand, and they were afraid to ask. Along the road, they argued about who was the greatest. Jesus called a child and placed him among them. Whoever humbles himself like this child is the greatest in the kingdom of heaven. Greatness was not about position. It was about posture. He warned them not to cause others to stumble, spoke of forgiveness without limits, and told a story of a servant forgiven a great debt who refused to forgive a small one. Grace received must become grace given. As they traveled toward Jerusalem, Jesus taught about marriage, about wealth, about the danger of trusting riches more than God. A rich young man walked away sorrowful, unable to surrender what held his heart. Jesus reminded them that with God, what is impossible for people is possible for him. Parents brought children for blessing. The disciples tried to stop them. Jesus welcomed them. The kingdom of heaven belongs to such as these. On the road, he again foretold his suffering, his death, and his resurrection. James and John's mother asked for positions of honor for her sons. Jesus responded gently but firmly. Whoever wants to become great among you must be your servant. Authority in his kingdom would look like sacrifice. As they approached Jerusalem, 2 blind men cried out for mercy. Jesus stopped. He healed them, and they followed him. The city loomed ahead. Expectation filled the air. Hope mixed with fear. Praise with plotting. The king was approaching his city, and the final chapters of the story were beginning to unfold. Subscribe now. The final chapter changes everything.